moving on to the fifth question, which will be posed first to Mr. Hart. And I'm going to preface this question by the disclosure that our questions do not reflect our personal views, but rather reflect questions and concerns that have been expressed by Dublin residents who submitted questions to us. And this was a repeated question, so I've chosen to ask it. There is a perception by some within the community that developers and other special interest groups located outside Dublin have undue influence over the city council. While there is no prohibition against the acceptance of donations from special interest groups, these Dublin citizens would prefer that the candidates accept future donations solely from Dublin registered voters. Do you believe that such a limitation is appropriate?
Well, that's a great question. I think that's certainly something that's going to have to be evaluated. I mean, if you're not aware of the process, we solicit as a campaign, we solicit contributions from anybody and everybody. I think you have to be careful, though. I know that I am, as to who you accept. I think that if you look at our campaign contribution ballot, which is a 460 form, and see what developers contribute to which candidate, I think that's important. I've asked that we be more transparent about it and put that on online so that everyone can kind of see that. Only Dublin residents, I mean, I would certainly be supportive of that. It's hard to, it costs money, as some of you probably are aware, to put signs up and flyers and so forth, and we have a campaign contribution limit of $500, but I think that's a great idea. I think that's something we haven't discussed up to this point. I think we need to have some continued dialogue. Maybe we, vet that out, but I like that idea. I like that concept. That's a great question, great point.
I will be honest, I have not accepted a contribution from a developer or a special interest in the sense of what we are asking in this context. My donations so far have come from Dublin residents, family members, and a building trades association. Putting it out there, I've accepted no money from developers. Do I think that contributions from developers should be limited? I think that is something that absolutely should be discussed. I think that transparency, as Mr. Hart said, is absolutely essential. But to limit it to only Dublin residents would preclude my sister, who lives in Southern California, from wanting to donate to my campaign. So
Family excluded.
Okay.
Family could be excluded.
But that would require some obvious conversation. So I think that we have residents who moved to Pleasanton but are still actively engaged in the process here that would want to still be able to participate and work with those candidates. So I don't think that it should just be Dublin residents, but I understand the context and the intent of that, and I think that is absolutely commendable. But again, I'd like to say that I have taken no money from developers.
Okay, listen, campaigns do cost money. The way in which you spend the same amount of money will dictate how successful you are in a campaign. And if we gave everybody the same amount of money and let them do with it what they strategically think will be the best for them, that might be the best solution for all. Pleasanton has a spending limit, not a fundraising limit, but a spending limit. And so we could maybe do something like that. I absolutely favor transparency. I pushed hard for a comprehensive overview when we talked about campaign finance in the last couple of months, and we committed as a council to look at that after the election's over in January. So what happens in Dublin in the future, I think, will be very different. Whatever the case is, we all live by the same rules. And as long as we live by the same rules, I don't really mind what they are. In the specific case of limiting to Dublin residents only, I think you have perhaps some constitutional issues. I'm not sure legally that could be accomplished. I'm not a lawyer, but I've heard that can't be. Developers are one side of the equation. Unions are another side of the equation. And, we have to look at contributions from all sources. And indeed, some of us are endorsed and supported by unions, and some of us, have taken contributions from both. And I indeed have taken contributions from both unions and developers. But the important thing is that I've told them both no as well, and that the contribution doesn't equal any type of access, and I think that's the heart of the question. And we have to challenge our electeds all over the state on that issue. But I'm open for any kind of change. As a community, we're going to talk about it. As a council, we're going to talk about it, invite the community to bring their input, and I'm up for any changes as long as it's consensus built and we all live by the same rules.
Mr. Costello.
I don't know if you guys can see over there, there's a sign over there, the end, you know, there, that's my sign. I want it back to me, that's all I got. No one gives me any money. You all are invited to donate right here, because I don't go to places and really drag you down and say, you gotta do it, you gotta give me the money. I don't call you up on the phone, I don't say, please. But what I do is I do it fairly. I'm living hand to mouth, literally. That's how my campaign is. I am fair. I do not persecute anybody here at this table. I will not persecute anybody at the other tables whenever I ran for city council. I love everybody here in the city. I want to represent the whole city for real. And if you can feel in your heart that you know that you have a person dedicating his whole life to this place, you know that you got the best candidate.
Good job, Sean. Rebuttal voice? Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, city clerk will be sitting at her desk. I encourage you to go look, ask for campaign contributions. You will find that a candidate for mayor, all right, has taken a campaign contribution from a developer that is currently in progress with a project before the city council. I think it's wrong. I voted against the project. I did not accept any developer campaign contributions from that developer. I think it's a wrong project, but I want to make sure that that we're transparent about it. Please encourage her to do that. She works 8 to 5.
I believe that I'm glad that the council took the opportunity to look at campaign contributions and limitations just recently. I think that when we raised the campaign contribution limit from $300 to $500, it was doing so it's very, very costly to run a campaign. It's incredibly costly. And some people have the option to provide a little bit more funding if they really want to support that individual. I really applaud Mr. Hart for bringing forward the opportunity to not fundraise under multiple accounts. And we've seen that happen. We had a council member who was raising money for a particular race, but using the opportunity to raise $1,000 versus $500. So talking about not limiting campaign contributions, I do not want to see us do away with that. I think that there's always loopholes, and we have to close those loopholes so that it is fair for all of those who are running for office.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't know about loopholes. The rules, they are what they are, and they were always put in place, and we all abide by the same rules. And Sean, you bring up a really good point. And I remember when you ran for the city council last time, I made a contribution to your city council account. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to match it again because I think you should have it. We've already talked about this. I'm going to make sure that you get the same funds that you did last time for this race to make it more fair. But I will also say that we all live by the same rules. We will then choose to spend the money in the way that we find most efficient, and that's the way it works, and the best man or woman wins. I think that we're all open to change, and we need to see that change. And I encourage everybody, I would say, you don't have to walk into Caroline's office, she'll email you the forms. It's really simple. So everybody should go get the email forms from Caroline, because it's easy to do, and we do it all the time. So, but I'll have to put it online, so you can get online.
Mr. Costello.
have I ever had any contributions. In the 30 years that I've tried to run for office, I have never had anything past $200, period. If I was to add it all up, $200. That's all I got. 30 years, I get 2 signs, I put it in the back of me, put it in front of me, you got it. But the thing is that the developers don't give me any money because they're afraid of me, because I'm gonna say, nobody builds here in Dublin unless the voters say so.